I don't even know how to start this, but I need to tell someone, anyone, what happened. It's been weeks, and I still can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see her, sitting there, waiting. I can't do this anymore. I don't know what else to do. It all started with a stupid project for school. I'm studying art, and we were supposed to create something from scratch, something that meant something to us. Most of the others were doing paintings or sculptures, but I wanted to be different, you know? I wanted to do something special. So, I decided to make a doll. Not just any doll, though. I wanted it to look like a real person, like it had its own personality, its own life. I spent weeks working on it, sewing the fabric, stuffing it with cotton, painting the face. I even used real hair that I got from an old wig I found in a thrift shop. I was so proud of it when it was finished. She was beautiful, pale skin, big blue eyes, dark brown hair, and this sweet little smile. I named her Annabelle. At first, it was just fun and games. I'd show her off to my friends, let them hold her, laugh when they said how creepy she looked. I didn't think much of it. I mean, she was just a doll, right? Nothing to be scared of. But then things started to get weird. I kept Annabelle in my room, on a little chair by the window. I'd wake up some mornings and find her in a different position, like she'd moved in the night. I thought I must have done it in my sleep, knocked her over or something. But it kept happening. I'd find her sitting on my bed, or lying on the floor, or facing the door, instead of the window. I tried to laugh it off, tried to tell myself it was all in my head. But I knew something wasn't right. And then, one night, it got worse. I was lying in bed, trying to fall asleep, but I kept hearing these little noises. Like someone was moving around in the room. I kept my eyes shut tight, telling myself it was just the wind or the house settling. But then I heard it, a soft, shuffling sound, like something dragging across the floor. I sat up, heart pounding, and looked around the room. It was dark, but I could see well enough to know that nothing was there. Annabelle was still in her chair, right where I'd left her. I was just about to lie back down when I heard it again, closer this time. A soft giggle, almost like a child's laugh. And then, one night, it got worse. My breath caught in my throat. I stared at Annabelle, my eyes wide, and that's when I saw her move. Just a little, her head tilted to the side, her smile growing just a fraction wider. I froze. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't scream, couldn't move, couldn't even breathe. I just sat there, staring at her, hoping it was all some kind of horrible dream. Then, she spoke. "Wanna play?" Her voice was high-pitched and sweet, like a little girl's, but there was something else in it too, something off. Like she was mocking me, daring me to do something. I tried to tell myself I was imagining it, that it wasn't real, but I knew better. I could feel it, this cold, creeping fear wrapping around my chest, squeezing tighter and tighter. "Wanna play?" she said again, and this time, she stood up. Just like that, on her own two little feet. She stepped off the chair and onto the floor, her tiny hands reaching out toward me. I scrambled back, almost falling out of bed, my heart hammering in my chest. "No," I whispered, barely able to get the word out. "No, no, no." But she just giggled again, that sickening, twisted laugh, and started to walk toward me. Her movements were stiff, jerky, like a puppet being pulled by invisible strings. I could hear her feet dragging on the floor, the sound getting louder, closer. I finally snapped out of my paralysis and bolted out of the bed, running for the door. I didn't look back, I couldn't. I just ran down the hall, into the living room, and slammed the door behind me. I could hear her laughing still, that awful, high-pitched sound echoing in my ears, even when I covered them with my hands. I didn't go back to my room that night. I couldn't. I locked myself in the living room, curled up on the couch, and waited for the morning to come. I didn't sleep at all. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, that smile, those empty blue eyes, staring at me. When the sun finally came up, I forced myself to go back to my room. I had to know, had to see if she was still there, if any of it was real. The door creaked as I opened it, my heart in my throat. But when I stepped inside, she was back in her chair, just sitting there like nothing had happened. For a moment, I thought maybe it had all been a nightmare, some kind of vivid hallucination. But then I saw the marks on the floor, the little scuff marks leading from the chair to the bed, and I knew. I knew she had moved. I knew she was alive. I didn't know what to do. I thought about getting rid of her, throwing her away, burning her, anything to make her go away. But the thought of touching her, of picking her up, made my skin crawl. I couldn't do it. I tried to ignore her, tried to go about my life like everything was normal. But it wasn't. She was always there, watching me, waiting. Sometimes I'd catch her out of the corner of my eye, moving when she thought I wasn't looking. Other times, I'd hear her giggle, that horrible, mocking laugh, echoing through the empty house. And then, one night, she wasn't in her chair anymore. I searched the entire room, but she was gone. Just gone. I should have felt relieved, but I didn't. I felt worse, because now I didn't know where she was, what she was planning. I was jumpy, paranoid, constantly looking over my shoulder, expecting to see her standing there, waiting to play. And then, one night, I found her. Or rather, she found me. I was in the bathroom, brushing my teeth, trying to keep my mind off her, when I heard it. That laugh, so close it felt like it was right behind me. I spun around, and there she was, standing in the doorway, her head tilted to the side, that awful grin stretching across her face. "Wanna play?" she whispered. I backed up, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst out of my chest. "Please," I begged, "please just leave me alone." But she just kept smiling, kept laughing, and started walking toward me. I could feel the cold creeping in, feel her presence wrapping around me like a vice. I was trapped, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. "Wanna play?" she asked again, and this time, she was right in front of me, her tiny hands reaching out, grabbing my arm. I screamed. I couldn't help it. I screamed, and then everything went black. When I woke up, I was in my bed, the sun streaming through the window. For a moment, I thought maybe it was all over, that it had been a nightmare after all. But then I felt it, something cold and hard in my hand. I looked down, and there she was, Annabelle, sitting in my hand, her smile wider than ever, her eyes gleaming in the light. I threw her across the room, my heart racing, but she just lay there on the floor, staring at me with those cold, blue eyes. I don't know what she wants, what she's waiting for. But I know she's not done with me. She's just biding her time, waiting for the right moment. I haven't slept in days. I can't. I can still hear her laughing, hear her asking to play. I know she's watching me, waiting for me to close my eyes, to let my guard down. And I know that when I do, she'll be there. Ready to play. But I won't play. I can't. I won't let her win. I'm telling you this because I don't know how much longer I can keep going. I'm tired. So tired. But I know I can't sleep, can't rest. Not as long as she's here. If you're reading this, if you ever find a doll like Annabelle, don't bring it home. Don't play with it. Just stay away.